to Scream Appeal, the show where we review the Goosebumps books, the old classics. Today, we'll be going through Goosebumps book number 1, Welcome to Dead House. Now, I'm going to just focus on the books because this first episode I did watch the show and I did read the book. And they were so different that I'm going to just stick to the books, which have much more detail, much more creepiness, and just much more R.L. Stein, which is what we love. Now, this book caught me by surprise. I was expecting R.L. Stein to have his first Goosebumps book to be mild, but this one actually was a banger. It was a really great book. Now, Welcome to Dead House. This is a book where a family has inherited a home in Dark Falls from an uncle, some kind of uncle. And nobody knows this uncle, but he died and left them this house. So they come in to Dark Falls. They notice it's called Dark Falls for a reason. There's trees all over the place. They're covering the sun. So we get to meet some of the characters. Our main characters are Amanda, who's a teenage girl, Josh, her little brother, who I think is 11 years old, something like that, and the mom and dad, who totally suck. They're much nicer on the show. That's the one thing I preferred about the show, but dang. Pretty bad parenting. You want to read a book about bad parenting, this is a good book to start off with. But we'll get to it. First of all, they move into this house in Dark Falls, and Josh hates it. He doesn't want to go in. He just wants to stay in the car with the dog. They have a dog named Petey. He's another very important character here. And the mom and dad are just trying to move things in. They're very busy, and they're just trying to get everything in. But right off the bat, Amanda starts seeing people in her house. And she freaks out. She's very scared. The parents are always just dismissing it. So there's a real estate agent. His name is Mr. Dawes. And Amanda describes him as being very handsome a lot of the time. And Mr. Dawes, as soon as he comes by, the dog loses it, starts barking, starts growling, and they tell Mr. Dawes this has never happened before. Petey's a very kind dog, very nice dog. He's never done this before. And he said, oh, it's fine. He's probably just getting used to the new place, or probably smells something on me. But Petey goes at him for a while, growling, and they just try to shut him up. Eventually, Petey runs off, and Josh chases after him, and he goes into the graveyard, and he's just sniffing around, and Josh can't figure out why he ran away. This is a dog that doesn't run away. He's a well-behaved dog, but he's acting very weird in this place of Dark Falls. We get a little bit of a background to Amanda. She's got a good friend named Kathy, and they're having their girl time. Oh, I'm gonna miss you so much, and I'll come visit you. But they live like hours away. I don't remember if it was like 5, 6, 7, 8, something far away. And anyways, Amanda keeps seeing things in this house, and the parents are dismissing it. The father goes as far as to tell her, stop seeing things. The dog starts barking at everybody, right? At anyone that they come across. And the mom tells Amanda, make that dog shut up. Just make him shut up. Okay, how do I do that? Amanda and Josh, one day, the parents are saying, hey, go walk around with Petey. And Amanda says, oh, that's just code for you just want to get rid of us. And the mom says, you're a smart girl. So they go out for a walk and realize this is a ghost town. There's like nobody out. There's nobody in the swings in the playground. Looks like nobody lives there, right? But eventually they come across some friends. I guess they become friends. And first there's Ray. He's an important character later on. But there's Ray. They get to know Ray, and Ray is pretty friendly. As soon as the dog sees him, though, he starts growling and barking. And again, Amanda and Josh don't understand why this is going on. But eventually, Amanda and Josh they meet all of Ray's friends, and they're very unusual people, very unusual kids. There's a time where they all start closing in on Amanda and Josh. Josh doesn't realize it because he's busy with Petey, the dog, but Amanda does, but then it turns into nothing. They end up going to play baseball out in a park, and she actually makes really good friends with one of the girls named Karen Thurston. I wish the book would go in a little bit more into their friendship, because you kind of get the feeling that they become good friends, but you don't really understand why, because they don't really spend very much time together. I guess they have some things in common, and so Karen is nice to her. I guess that's a good enough reason for them to be friends. The kids are very weird, though, right? They're playing baseball, and it comes a certain time of the day where they're like, oh, we all have to go home now. And, nobody argues, everybody leaves. And again, it's like a ghost town. Eventually, I think they play baseball a couple times, and one time the dog runs away, gets away from his leash. They actually have to start leashing Petey, even though they never have had to do that before, because he keeps trying to run off. And this time they lose him, and they get lost. So they end up finding their way home, thinking that Petey's gonna be there, but he's not home. And they're very sad. They're crying. They want to find him. They're asking their dad if he'll drive them to look for Petey. He says he's too busy, obviously. And the mom says she'd take him, but they had to eat dinner or something like that. And so she ends up taking him, and they don't find Petey. And then they come back home, and it's a lot of non-validation stuff. The parents are like, oh, he's probably sniffing someone's butt, or maybe he's, gone to meet another girl dog, or hey, maybe he'd just come back, who knows? And the parents are just kind of giving up. They don't even really care about this dog, to be honest, and Josh and Amanda are devastated. Hey, forgot to mention, Amanda is having a hard time sleeping. Every night she's seeing things, hearing things, lots of whispers, lots of laughing. Definitely seeing shadows of people passing by. Nobody believes her, even Josh. But yeah, it's not a good dynamic. One day, Amanda even comes home and sees that her clothes are all over her bed, and she's like, "My mom's very neat and tidy. She usually folds and puts things away. She must have just forgotten." She has to make assumptions for the things she's seeing. She needs to make assumptions for the things she's hearing, for the things that are out of the ordinary, because if she brings them up to the parents don't have time for her. I'm sorry I keep bringing this up, but I hate these parents. Anyways, Josh decides, hey, I think I know where Petey is. Let's go. I think he's in the graveyard because he ran away there once. And Amanda's kind of freaking out about that. She's like, I don't know about going to the graveyard. Josh's like, I'm going. You can come with me or not. But I'm going. And of course, she's a good big sister and goes with Josh to check it out. They run into Ray in the middle of the night, like 2 o'clock in the morning. The parents are off in a party, a neighborhood party. And Ray's like, nah, this is a bad idea. You should not go to the cemetery. You should not go to the cemetery. And they go to the cemetery anyway, and they see the dog they find the dog. Petey keeps running away from them. They don't know what's going on. It's like he doesn't recognize them. And then Amanda starts seeing the gravestones, and she starts seeing the names of all the kids that they've been playing baseball with, and they see Ray's name. And Ray said, were not supposed to see that. You were not supposed to see that, not yet, you know. Something else I forgot to mention. A couple of kids, Ray included, her new friend Karen. Throughout the story, you hear different kids saying, "I used to live in your house," which also, you know, Amanda knows something is off. It's really off. So Ray tells her, "You weren't supposed to see that." Mm-mm. And he says, "I'm the watcher." Amanda realizes he's dead. All these kids they've been playing with are dead. They're dead kids. And Ray's the watcher. What does that mean? I have no idea. That's one thing I wish they talked more about it in the book. I imagine it means that he's supposed to watch the fresh blood that comes into this town. And he didn't do a good job because they made it to the graveyard. And so what happens is Ray starts hovering, starts coming to Amanda and Josh. And Josh lights his flashlight on Ray, and Ray just starts disintegrating, his skin coming off of his bones, his eyes falling out. And they realize, oh, maybe their weakness is light, right? And Amanda finds out that Petey's also dead. That's why he doesn't realize it. He doesn't recognize them. That's why he's acting so weird, right? And dead Petey could be better. I feel like I love Petey as a character in this book because he's not like, you know, some super dog from, you know, any kind of media that can just sense everything and know everything. And he's just a dog, right? He definitely senses danger and barks and growls at the people, these dead people. But he also gets tired and lays down, and he also gets happy. He acts like a regular dog who recognizes danger, but just like a regular dog. I like that about Petey. So Amanda and Josh run away, and they say, "We got to get our parents, and we got to get out of here." And I'm thinking the whole time, these parents aren't gonna believe you. What are you talking about? But they get home, and their parents aren't there. But you know who is there? All of the kids, the baseball kids, and they start closing in on him again. Amanda turns on the lights, and they all run off. So they're trying to figure out, you know, how they can find their parents. Why they want to say their parents, I don't know, but I guess they love them. What happens is then Mr. Dawes comes back, and he starts telling them, you know, I've known something was wrong, you know, something's going on. Your parents they're safe, but we need to get them. We need to get to them as soon as we can. And of course, as a reader, you're thinking, okay, either Mr. Dawes is actually trying to help, or he's definitely, probably, most likely dead as well and trying to trap these kids. And it was the latter, yes. They make it to this amphitheater that's close to the graveyard, and the kids run off. They're able to. They try to flash the light on him, but the flashlight breaks. But they end up running off and getting away from Mr. Dawes. Mr. Dawes gives up, and I think he's happy to know that they have their parents and that they're fresh blood. He's trying to explain to the kids, and he explains to the parents that it doesn't hurt to die. And as soon as we kill you, then you can be one of us. Tempting offer. So, Mr. Dawes was not the savior. He was the condemner. And I wish we would have known a little bit more about his story, but he does explain that there was some kind of chemical leak from a plastic factory in town, and it killed everyone, but I guess they made them living dead. And they would invite people to live in their town, always in the same house, in the dead house, where they would later kill these people and make them part of the town, at the same time feeding themselves. Their blood, I guess. It doesn't really go into detail with that. In the amphitheater, Josh and Amanda see that there's this big tree covering the sun that's that would be lighting right on the amphitheater, and it looks like this tree's falling down. So they're working really hard to try to knock it down, so they can light up the whole amphitheater and take care, of all the dead people like that, and save their parents who are tied up in the middle of the amphitheater. They're trying, they can't, and eventually it does break. It lights everything, and all these dead people start disintegrating, screaming, crying. And Karen, the one that Amanda made friends with, she says, "Thank you." She thanks her. I don't know why. I imagine, she didn't feel like what they were doing was right, or maybe it wasn't pleasant to be dead and she wanted to disintegrate forever, to find peace or something, I imagine. But anyways, they save their parents, and the parents, start driving or start going back home to get to their car and to just get out of this dark falls town. And it actually gives me goosebumps, because at this point I'm thinking, this is a really great book, right? But the ending is my favorite. They get to the car, and Amanda feels like she has to take one more look at the house, and she's looking at the house. And then as she turns around to come back, there's a family coming up, and it couldn't be any more the same, any more similar than what their experience was when they came to the house. It's a new family, new kids complaining about the town, how it looks ugly, how it's dark, the parents trying to convince them, oh, it's going to be a good place to live. And this family is moving into the dead house. And Amanda is shocked. She doesn't know what to do. The same thing that they've just gone through, this new family's coming. And she's freaking out. And in the corner of her eye, she sees Mr. Dawes, the real estate agent, helping this family move in. And the family says, "Who are you?" And she runs into the car and drives off with her family. That gave me goosebumps. I was listening to it on audiobook, and I was folding clothes, and when I heard that part, I was like, oh dang. My wife was like, what happened? Oh man, I really love that ending. Now, some things I love about this story. Number one, it was a great build-up. I think that R.L. Stein is a master of this, and I am looking forward to seeing how he does it in so many different ways. But this story, we got to learn about the family, we got to learn about their background. We even got the detail of, hey, they didn't sell their house, which was great, because then at the end they could just move back to their house because they were having a hard time selling it. But we got to meet some of the kids. Things were off, right? The whole time we know something's off. And not just because it's a Goosebumps book. It was very obvious from the whisperings and the people that Amanda was seeing, from the dog acting strange, the people, the kids acting strange, all of them, like the whole town being kind of a ghost town. It was a great build-up. The characters, some of them were really good. Josh is actually one of my favorites from this book, because he's so stubborn. He's just like, I don't like this house, I hate this place, I don't like it, whatever. No matter how rude and mean the parents were, he's just like wouldn't change his stance. But he was also so brave. He would go out to the graveyard in the middle of the night in a town that was super creepy to save his dog. Dude, cool beans. Again, I'll mention the parents were horrible. It was sad to see that Amanda was always worried about putting more on her parents. She tried to be very responsible. She even mentions that, she's not like her brother in the way, like, Mr. Dawes says that they look similar, but she said that they're not very similar because, he's very stubborn and she's always very accommodating to her parents. I love the monsters in this book. They were just normal people who were now dead, the Walking Dead. And they're just hungry. They just need blood, I imagine, or bodies, or I don't know how it works. But they're just hungry, undead people. But they're not like zombies. They're with it, These people, they understand. And I don't know, if they were lying. I don't know if they were lying about dying, not hurting, or that, if Amanda and Josh just let them kill them, that they could be part of the town and that they could play baseball and be best friends, and they could continue their friendships. And I don't know if all of those were just fibs or truths, but that kind of mystery was enjoyable. I like that. And and Mr. Dawes was a great character too. Amanda's always talking about how handsome he was, but when she starts seeing him as his true self, with the skin color pale, with the skin sagging, when she gets to see that he's really actually a dead person, he's terrifying. And although he's not too forceful with them, he's just trying to convince them that they could be part of this town if they just let him kill him. I think Amanda and Josh are smart enough to be like, yeah, no, that sounds like a stupid idea. Let's not do that. And I love this twist ending. This was a great book. I really enjoyed it. Welcome to Dead House. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Scream Appeal. And until next time, stay creepy, my friends. Well, I forgot to rate this book. So, from a scale from 1 to 5, I would say it's hard to do a rating because this is the first book and I honestly don't remember much about the books I have read from Goosebumps, and I also don't know how much better they're going to be. But with the little knowledge I have, I'm going to have to give this book a solid 4. I enjoyed the story, enjoyed most of the characters, had a really great twist ending. The build-up was great. Had its creepy moments. But I feel like at the same time, we could have gotten a little bit more as far as the climax. Climax was great, but I felt like it was short-lived. And I feel like I wish I would have had a little more information about, and a little more detail about those dead kids, about Mr. Dawes, and the way they did things. A little bit more explanation on why Kathy was happy to die. And a couple of things like that. Nitpicking. It was a great book. I really did enjoy it. But I'll give it a 4 out of 5.